Let's talk about tariff refunds. Donald Trump spent months telling Americans tariffs are such an easy way to win the economy. And he insisted, I'm going to put these blanket tariffs on countries. The countries will pay the tariffs. The deficit will go down. We will win, win, win. It's the cornerstone of my economic agenda. The federal government has now been forced to hand back $81 billion in tariffs because a large part of those tariffs that were collected were ruled illegal by the Supreme Court. That is not an MSNBC talking point. That is what the government's budget figures now show. 81 billion, according to the Treasury Department, has been refunded this fiscal year after the Supreme Court said some of this stuff is against the law. The overwhelming majority of those refunds went out in May and June. We're now finding out about it. Now, think about what this means. For months, the administration said tariff revenue is proof the policy is working. And we would say, hold on a second, American companies are paying the tariffs. And every time the Trump allies would go, we are finally filling government coffers and forcing other countries to pay. And we would say, it's not being paid by the other countries, it's being paid by American companies, and that cost is passed to the consumer. Well, we eventually got to a point where the money has to be given back. The companies that initially paid the tariffs are being given refunds because the court said the legal authority was exceeded by the administration. The companies are getting the refunds. Now, there's two really important aspects to this. First, Trump insisted China, Europe, whoever is paying the taxes. They're paying the tariffs. That's not how tariffs work. They are paid by the company importing the good. It is then passed along to the consumer through higher prices. So if you as a consumer, if I as a consumer paid more for stuff because of the tariffs, and the companies are now getting a refund, where is your refund and where is my refund? Well, the answer is we are not getting them. The companies that imported the goods are getting refunds because they were the ones that paid at the point of customs. That is how the law works. But if you were the family paying more for everyday goods because of the tariffs, you don't get a check in the mail. You paid more, and then also you are paying the refunds, and it is the company that gets the money back. The government doesn't have its own money. Like when the government refunds someone, it's tax money. It's always our money. So where we find ourselves is that Trump was wrong about who paid the tariffs. He said it was China and other countries, but it was companies, and then they passed that to us. We paid the tariffs by paying higher prices. And now we are paying the refunds after the government lost in court. Think about the astonishingly stupid way that this policy has worked out. And the timing really couldn't be worse for Trump because the administration has been saying, hey, look, all this tariff revenue is really helping us narrow the deficit and all this stuff. Well, the refunds are now flowing back out the door. The deficit is widening, and we have interest payments on the national debt surpassing $1 trillion for the fiscal year. What is remarkable is that Trump doesn't give a damn. The White House is preparing a new round of tariffs. Look, everything old is new again. Tariffs are going to be starting up again with a new round. We're back to war with Iran. It's all happening again. And this is an economic disaster. It's sort of like a pump and dump of economic policy. You announce sweeping tariffs, businesses and consumers adapt, prices move, they charge more, markets react, courts go, it's illegal. Taxpayers then are told, you will now be financing massive refunds. And then the administration goes, what are we going to do? We'll do more tariffs, but with a different legal theory. Economic instability. The supporters who say, oh, Trump is a master businessman. Does this seem like a genius scheme? This is impulse governance. And if someone told you this was the business plan of a CEO, investors would go, this is crazy. We can't do this. So the promise was we will all be richer because of tariffs. Instead, many Americans paid more for products because of the tariffs and now are paying for the refunds out of taxpayer money. Give me a break, guys. It's time to put a stop to this.